It's been a very busy last couple of weeks for me between my full-time job, being on the road, my 2 podcasts, my new book that's coming out later this year. It's hard to find the time to sit down and get some gaming done, which is one of the reasons why I like portables so much. So though right now I don't have the time for a more ambitious video that's coming later this month, I still wanted to talk gaming with you guys. With that in mind, this is what I've been playing this week. Let's go back to basics with this one. Dr. Mario. I've been playing a lot of Dr. Mario recently. It became kind of a ritual for me. I come home from work, I shower, I eat something, and then I go to bed and play Dr. Mario until I fall asleep. For those who don't know, and if you don't, I feel a little sorry for you, Dr. Mario is basically an offshoot of Tetris, one of those games where there's falling blocks and you have to align them in a certain way. Where in Tetris you have blocks that are made out of 4 squares, therefore Tetris. Get it? Tetris, it's Latin for 4, like tetraplegic. Tetris, that's why it's called Tetris. Actually, is it Latin or is it Greek? No, I don't know. I'm gonna say, I think it's probably Greek. I think I got it wrong the first time. Anyway, unlike with Tetris, in Dr. Mario, you're not trying to clear lines. You're trying to align a sequence of 4 blocks of the same color. The blocks that fall from the top of the screen are little pills, hence Dr. Mario. The pills are divided into 2 halves, each with its own color, although sometimes there's pills that are just one solid color. And you have to line up the halves with other halves that have the same color until you have a line of 4, at which point they disappear. Spread throughout the levels, there are little viruses of a specific color, and again, with the original Game Boy, being that it's a monochrome screen, they had to get creative to simulate color with this. It's worth mentioning that, like with any Game Boy game, if you play this in a Game Boy Color, you see a little bit of color. It simulates a color palette that actually isn't there if you play on the original. It's kind of interesting that way. Anyway, there are these little viruses spread throughout the level, and what you have to do is line up the proper color pills on top of those viruses. That's how you clear the level, actually. You have to kill the viruses by piling the same color pills on top of them. I'm actually a very big fan of puzzles on the Game Boy. In fact, most of the games that I buy for my Game Boys are puzzle games because I just get a lot more satisfaction out of them. Because the Game Boy is supposed to follow you wherever you go, a puzzle game just fits better in that schedule, right? Because you can just pull the game out and play a couple rounds and turn it off and put it back, and you killed some time, and it's not like you have to worry about breaking the flow of the narrative like you would, say, if you're playing Pokemon or Zelda. Moving right along, we have a game that I'm ashamed to admit that I'm only now finally getting into after all these years. Castlevania Symphony of the Night. This is a game that feels right at home in most people's top 10 best games ever lists. Ask anyone you know. It's gonna be right up there. Before Symphony of the Night, Castlevania titles were a lot more linear. The games didn't reward exploration, and there was no RPG elements, so what you see is what you got in regards to what your character can do. Symphony of the Night changed all that with a massive castle, a host of abilities that you unlock to gain access to other parts of the castle. It was a completely different experience from the original Castlevania formula. And this ambitious change was so successful, it killed the original Castlevania format. Some say for the better. Though Symphony of the Night got a handful of spiritual successors on both the GBA and the Nintendo DS, unfortunately the same can't be said about the 3DS. We only had one Castlevania title developed specifically for the system, Mirror Fate, and it's okay, I guess. You'd think that the mixing of God of War elements with Castlevania would have worked better. Unfortunately, it doesn't. And since we're on the 3DS, the other game I've been playing a lot of is Animal Crossing New Leaf. The Animal Crossing series, much like Castlevania, is one that I ignore for most of my gaming life. I have a real hard time focusing on things, and these life simulator games were never really my cup of tea. I played the original Sims for a while, but that's about it. I decided to give Animal Crossing a shot, and I'm having such a blast with the game. In case you're unfamiliar with this 3DS title, the story is basically this. You arrive at a town by mistake, and the people who live there think you're the mayor, so you start acting like the mayor. The game has a lot of charm, from meeting the people that live in the little town, which you get to name, to buying little trinkets to furnish your home with, to buying and selling things from the other people in the town, writing them letters, playing online with friends. It's actually a blast. The game follows a real-time cycle, meaning when it's daytime in real life, it's daytime in the game, and likewise, when it's nighttime in real life, it's nighttime in the game. And the city game behaves accordingly. So when it's nighttime, some of the shops have closed and you can't do as much, but then there are other activities that you get to do at night. So the game rewards coming back to it at different times throughout the day. It's really a lot of fun. It's the kind of game that it's great to just pull out and play for like 5-6 minutes and then put it back in your bag and carry on with your day. One thing that I love about this game is that when you play with other people, you have to actually go to the train station in your little town, hop on the train, and then go to their city. Whereas in most games, you just go to a drop-down menu and you select the player session or whatever and you jump right in. This game kind of tries to simulate real life in that you have to physically go somewhere to visit your friend's town. I like that a lot. I like when games go the extra mile to make things more realistic. Even though Animal Crossing is basically a cartoon, I enjoyed that little detail. So these are the games I've been playing lately. What have you been playing these days? Let me know in the comments below. I mean, if you have any suggestions, I want to hear them too. Anyway, that's all the time I have for today. I'm Izzy and I'm done.